right, Homesteader family, welcome back to the journey. DT, I just saw your message. I'll catch you on the next video, or you'll see this replay. Max. I had several of you enjoyed watching the Anatolian Shepherds get their treat. So I went ahead and put a flat of the cube steak to the side so you guys can enjoy seeing them get fed again. And yeah, so let me get them over here. Minnie Mouse, come on. Mouse, come on. Let's go. Come here. Come on. You ready? Minnie Mouse. Minnie Mouse, come. Come. Let's see. Everybody in there? Yeah. Easy. Easy now. Chub boys. All right, back up, back up. We're not drooling on the couch. Let me move this over. Everybody wants to watch the mouses eat. Yes, Mickey Mouse. So I hope everybody had a great week this week. Like I said, for those of you that wanted to see the Anatolians get their treats, this is the cube steak. I get it at Walmart, and they get a couple flats throughout the week, along with their dog food. For those of you asking about the dog food, I do the Purina puppy chow mix with Purina dog chow. And I know everybody says, you know, that's bad dog food, da-da-da. But they eat a lot, so it's cheaper. And then I spend the money by adding olive oil to the dog food. So it helps moisten the dog food. It gives them a healthier coat. And olive oil is good for dogs. So we had a bunch of rain earlier this week. And snow and cold and nothing but ice. Luckily, nobody lost power in this area. But I didn't get much work done. So yesterday was halfway decent. And then today was actually in the mid-60s. So that was really nice. I was able to get a bunch of work done then. And then tomorrow for my birthday, it's supposed to be like 65, 66 degrees. So that's going to be really nice. So little by little, getting work done. And then I'm just going to get these guys fed. Because I know there's a lot of you that love seeing the Anatolians. So we're almost done. Almost. Ah! Don't eat the plastic. Yeah, good boy. All right, last pieces for Max. Or actually, one last one for Chips. All right. You guys go lay down, relax. You guys go lay down, relax, okay? All right, so there you guys go. For those of you that enjoy seeing the Anatolian Shepherds getting their treats. So like I said, we had a lot of ice, a lot of bad weather, a lot of cold. Out of firewood. I had to cut some firewood yesterday, so I'll show you that. That's all the firewood I have. So I need to go cut some more firewood. As you see, I have a fire going. Yes, it was mid-60s today, but this concrete floor, you walk on this concrete floor, it's like walking in a freezer. It is cold. Also, since I'm showing you over here, right here on television, I'm watching yesterday, I think, or today's episode of On Patrol Live. And yesterday on their episode, Arkansas made the crime of the night again with another high-speed chase. And they made the comment, Arkansas is the only state that has this much leniency to the cops. And tonight's was in Georgia, but they commented about Arkansas. They're like, they couldn't believe it was in Arkansas again. So if you guys watch On Patrol Live, Arkansas has a lot of slots on these episodes for the crime. And the one last night, the high-speed chase, the state trooper is slamming into the car at red lights right in front of people. I'm like, when I went through pit maneuver classes and stuff like that. You don't do that around people because the car could flip or swerve, hit another person. And Arkansas, they just smash into the cars. Don't matter if you're bouncing off other cars or not, apparently. So, like I said, once again, if you come to Arkansas, you better be straight because the cops don't play here. And don't bring that drama and city life and everything else. We're trying to keep it as a community, not a society out here. But this week with the bitter cold, you guys saw the videos, or if you haven't seen the videos on the baby goats, all the baby goats made it through the cold. I didn't lose any to the cold. So that's another thing people should think about. Yes, you can lose babies into the cold. Journey Brook. Oh, that's all right. Only thing you missed was the Anatolian shepherds getting their chopped up steak. So, because I have several people that like seeing the Anatolian shepherds. And Max is sitting right here. He's like, I'm waiting for some more, Dad. Yep. But that's the only thing you missed. And then I'm just getting into, and I talk about On Patrol Live with Arkansas cops and everything. But as everybody saw in those videos, if you watch the goat videos, I did not lose any babies to the cold. Previous to the cold, I lost one because it got stepped on by, I would say, a camel. And then the piglets that were out got the one. That's why I did what I did and got the pigs finally caged back up. Today's video of the baby goats, unfortunately, I've never had this happen. So I've had goats since 2016. I think I had my first babies in 2017 or 2018, one of those years. But since from then until now, I've never had a baby stuck. I've heard it. It happens with cows, sheep, llamas, all different animals. It happens. I've just never had one. So when I pulled up to the homestead today, there was a baby stuck. I of course, I didn't film it because I went right into immediate action. It was way too late. So I would have had to been there probably like maybe 7 o'clock this morning instead of 9:15 this morning. I don't know. I don't know when she started, but the baby was already gone and she could not get the baby out. So I had to grab the neck of the baby and just keep pulling and just watch. And as she pulsated, trying to push, then I put a little bit more tension and slowly but surely, in about a minute and a half to 2 minutes, finally got her to pass the rest of the baby. That was her first baby. She's never had a baby before. She's one of the newer ones. And yeah, so I lost the baby. And then yesterday, like I talked about in video, I went over. I should have 6 babies. I go over. I have 5 babies. So I started doing a grid search like we did in the military. If you ever want to find something, grid search. Almost always. Anything I've ever lost, including when I lost my gold rings back in Colorado, to deviate from the story for a second. So I used to wear a lot of gold jewelry. And I was working on my house. And so I took my rings off so I didn't catch it on anything or rip a finger off. So I took all the gold rings off, sat it on the toolbox of my truck. Didn't have a part for whatever I needed and decided to run to town to go get a part. Well, all my rings flew off my truck going down the road and they were scattered within a 6-mile distance. So the closest ring, which was the lightest, was up by the house, and my heaviest ring ended up being 6 miles away. But just that grid search back and forth down the center of the roads to the side, down to the ditches, I found all my jewelry. However, going back to this story of the goats, I spent about 2 hours last night. I was there for a bit looking before the family came over, the little Homesteader family. And when they got there, 2 of the kids came and helped me try to find the baby goat. They left, spent like another hour and some there, back and forth, looking under logs. I went in where Big Mama is and the little baby bull. I looked underneath the shed. I looked in the igloo huts. I've started with quite a few channels at their start, and they have grown past 500,000. I appreciate that journey, Brooke, but I hope I stay where I'm at. I'll jump back to that after I get done with the goat video or the goat comment, and then I'll address that because I've had some people talk about that too, and I haven't addressed my channel for those questions that I've had. But anyhow, so I spent time after they left. I looked everywhere, could not find the baby goat. Looked under rocks, that big rocks that might have got knocked over by the camels, logs. Looked inside logs, could not find the baby. Short story, come back over today to feed the animals. The darn baby is sitting there nursing on Cora. So Cora's other baby wanted Cora, and Cora wouldn't go to the other baby. So the Homesteader family wants to buy goats. So they bought this one as well. So now they have the 2 bottle baby males. And so I'm down to 5 goats again. The 2 black ones are girls. And then I believe the 3 white ones are males. I didn't get a look at the one that was farther down that close, but I think the 3 are males. So I'm going to have some male goats to sell. And then I have, I think, 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 goats that still are going to have babies. So I still could have more baby goats, but I'm not sure. Grid search works with mislaid phones too. Wow, big grid to find rings and goats. Oh, definitely. Especially the pen out here now, because it's about, I want to say like 8 acres. I'm not good with acreage, but I would say about 8 acres. And to go back and forth, that's why I took 2.5 hours. And like I said, I could not find the goat. And whenever I look for something, I normally find it. This is the first thing I've ever did a grid search for and not been able to find it. My neighbors in Colorado told me I would never find those rings because gold in like dusty dirt in Colorado, said I'll never find it. I found every single ring. But to your question with the channel, that your hopes is I get up to 500,000. I really don't hope I get that high. At a couple points throughout my time here on YouTube, I've kind of hoped that I got up to those points, because then I would have more income to be able to do more things on the homestead, because you look at all these other channels. But like other people say, why don't I do multi-channel networking or do this, do that, so on and so forth. I don't want to be that big, because then I lose out on the followers that I've had from the beginning. And I have a bunch of followers that have been following me from 2016. And I know a lot of people that have talked to me, small channels, 200-300 subscribers, and they're like, oh, I subscribe to you because they want me to subscribe to them. And I give them a subscribe just to get them closer to that 1,000 so they can go ahead. Now, of course, I don't watch all these channels, but I will subscribe to anybody that wants it. And some of those channels are just sky high. In the beginning, I was watching Homesteader, if you've seen Homesteader, and I don't watch a lot of their stuff anymore because now I got too much of my own stuff going on. But I watched when he was getting ready to hit 4,000, and now they're, I think last time I saw was over 60,000. So when you get that big, you can't respond to all the comments. You can't do all that. And then the bigger you are, the more headaches you get, because then you got more people envious, or you have the trespassers or the stalkers or that type of stuff. And so I don't mind staying, where I'm at. Like I said, I've been doing this since 2016, and I'm only at 3,700 subscribers. I don't sell stuff. I don't advertise. I don't do all this that all these other channels do. Now, yes, they do that to make the money. Same with a multi-channel networking. That's how they gain subscribers and do all that type of stuff. So, yes, it'd be nice to have the money, but at the same time, I'm fine being low-key and not having that much of a headache and nuisance of when you get that big, the things that come with it. So that was that on the goats. For everybody wondering about the goats, the baby bull calf, he's still doing good, still trying to stretch his legs out. Not sure if he'll fully have his legs or not. Hopefully he will. The little goat that has a little bit of knuckling, It's out and about throughout the pen, so I'm not even going to mess with that little goat. Um, it is only a minor little bit of knuckling in the very hoof part of the leg. So with her out running around, I think she'll be fine, or him, whatever it is. We'll stretch it out and get the legs back to normal, like goats normally do. I had a farrier come out from St. Joe. Girl, my white horse, for those of you that heard me talk about it in the one video, she got a cut in bottom of her hoof and had a rock jammed up in there, and it was like a abscess. Well, now I know it's an abscess, but it was a chunk of flesh or whatever that I was trying to cut some of it off. Um, but she didn't want her foot messed with, and I'm not a professional farrier. So I went ahead and hired a farrier to come out to the homestead. I didn't take the horse. I hired to have them come out to the homestead. And he took care of it and showed me what it was, showed me some bruising. He said that he came from Kansas to Arkansas. He lives here in St. Joe by me as well, about 5 miles down the road. And with the rocks out here, like he said, the other horse Gunner, he didn't need his hoofs done. The other ones didn't need their hoofs done. And that is another key for those of you that homestead should be thinking about. It's a lot of work. I agree with the two big changes, a lot of other things. Just me, I pick good channels. Well, I appreciate the journey, Brooke. I hope this is a good channel for you. I do a lot of live streams, just so you know, because I don't spend a lot of time doing editing videos. I'm in the process of restarting from scratch once again. So eventually I'll get back to editing, but I'm nowhere close or tech savvy or anything like that, like all these big channels. So if you enjoy the entertainment of how people edit, I definitely don't do that. It's just a lot of live streams, just covering my life, what I do on Homestead, every Sunday, Monday vlog. And then throughout the weeks, if I got stuff going on, then I'll film and do a live stream at the Homestead like I did today. So the farrier came out. He said with the hooves being out on rocks, it's going to take her a bit to heal completely up. But that's also a good thing with the rocks because it keeps their hooves down. So like I was getting ready to say, for those of you that homestead and you have your animals in a pen where they don't have big areas to run and it's nothing but dirt or nothing but mud or tramp down poop or poop and hay, whatever is inside that area that most people have their animals in those pens, that's why you have to constantly do their feet. When you have like 8 acres, I want to say, that I have fenced right now that the animals have, they run. The horses run full gallop. The camels run. The donkeys run. Everybody has areas to run. When they're running over those rocks, they're chipping their feet. And you don't have to do it. Now, the only animals I have to work on every once in a blue moon are the goats. Some of the goats that want to be lazy, that don't go out and walk as much, they will start to grow their rear toes out. Their front toes, they always paw or whatever, so they grind those down. But the farrier said the horses didn't need their feet done. Girl only needed a little bit done, and just to get the abscess on the bottom of her hoof. So she started walking a whole lot better when he got done that, because it was about a nickel-sized sphere underneath her foot. And I tried, and I don't know what I'm doing, so I don't want to cut too deep. I don't want to injure her. And so I thought, like the vet coming out to take care of the dogs, the vet coming out for whatever I need, I'd rather just pay for it, have it done properly, make sure the animals are taken care of, and go about my business. So that was that part. And then with the beautiful weather starting, like I said, 2 days ago, going on. Now I'm back to clearing the today's Homesteader Lane that I'm working, going from Purdom Lane to Gregory Lane across the property. And then tonight, I'm changing something up. I know I said in my New Year's new goals that I was looking at possibly, and like I said, it's depending if my rental house sells this year or not, but I was possibly going to rent a dozer for a month around November if the rental house sold, and that would give me the money to rent a dozer. So I've decided since next month, I'm for sure, knock on wood, that nothing major happens between now and March 1st, that I need money for something major. I will have my credit cards paid off next month, and I'll have a few $200 to $300 extra that I can spend and be able to pay off the credit cards completely. So starting after that, then that will give me a little bit of money each month to be able to spend money into other stuff and not be paying that $60 to $70 a month credit card debt or interest on the credit card debt. So that's going to be nice. Now, that's not all my debt. Like I've talked about before, I'm still with JG Wentworth for my debt consolidation. So that's like 3.5 years. And I think that's been a year now or so. So I should have like 2.5 years left on those payments, but that's no interest. And that's why I went with the debt consolidation, because I'm not paying interest on it. It's a set amount of money, whether they settle for more or less. I pay this amount and that's it. It gets me out of the hole. But the two credit cards that I kept and didn't go through debt consolidation, they're going to be paid off March 1st. Fingers crossed. Like I said, nothing goes wrong. My truck doesn't break down again like last month or anything else. So I put up an ad on Facebook here in the St. Joe Community Partners and What's Happening in Searcy County on Facebook. They're the two pages for my county and for this community. And I said I was thinking about renting a dozer, but I'm thinking about keeping the money in the community. So if somebody has a dozer and they have experience, I'm looking for quotes starting tomorrow. So hopefully tomorrow I'll start getting phone calls. I can get people out there to look at the job. And if I can do like what the forestry mulchers charge, like $1,500 for the day to come out and do a 10-hour day. I don't know what somebody's going to charge for dozing, because I can have a dozer for an entire month with diesel for $5,000. So, if they're only going to do like 100 feet for $1,500, then I'm definitely not going to do that. But if I find somebody that's reasonable price, I know I'm paying for their labor because I'm not running the dozer. It's going to be them. So I know it's going to be more than the 5,000 what it would be for me to run a dozer running and the fuel. Then I'm going to try to start getting dozing work done. I'm going to try to get driveways put in. I'm going to try to get Purdom Lane fixed, and then try to get the driveway going up the mountain to the house site. And then if I can get the house site cleared of all those big trees that you just saw, I cleared up on top of the mountain where the house is going to be built. I'm going to be doing it. Then I'm going to get the house site leveled off. And then if all this goes the way I'm hoping, if I can find somebody reasonable, if I can get, I don't know how much work is entailed in doing all this, but if I can get all this done this year, then starting January next year, I'm going to slowly start building the house. It's going to be a few years in the process of building the house. But I'm going to go over that later, the end of this year. My house design, if I'm able to go ahead and start building the house come January. I'll talk about that at the end of the year. And then the new year, new goals, that will be part of that. And then I'll start discussing how the house is going to look, what it's going to be made of, all that type of stuff. Because I know I've had people asking, what type of house am I doing? Am I doing a house like I did in Colorado? Am I doing the in-ground house that I was going to do at the ranch in Colorado? The second house I was going to build, never got around to that, because now I just came here to Arkansas. So, once again, the journey's going to change, never ending. I can start something January 1st, and look, we're only into February now. Everything's changing again. So you never know what's going to happen here on the homestead or happen here at the restaurant. I was going to try to start doing some stuff here in the restaurant to cut down on my utility bills here. But I just feel I don't need to spend money here until I have everything set up out there. So that's going to be my goal, is just push, trying to get things done at the homestead. And I'm trying I know there's a lot of people that have sent me private messages and they're like, you lived in Colorado in your house off grid when you didn't have water, when you didn't have electricity. Why don't you do that again? And this is a simple answer. And before I give you the simple answer, I'm going to say this. I am trying to get back to the mentality of that lifestyle. If I can, I might be trying to get moved over there sooner. But as it sits, I won't have my money from Colorado for 6.5 more years. So I'm looking at probably 6.5 years until I finally get to the homestead. But I'm going to try to put every dollar I can. I'm going to severely cut back on trips to Harrison. I'm doing really good now. I'm only going Harrison maybe once every week and a half to once every 2 weeks. Some of you know I was going Harrison like once a day, sometimes twice a day. So wasting all that gas and wear and tear and spending money in town, I'm trying not to do that. When I go to Walmart, I try to be less than $200 at Walmart. So I'm trying to save every dollar I can to get things moving on the homestead. But the simple answer why I don't go back to living like I did in Colorado over here on the homestead now is the simple fact that if I ask you right now to go pitch a tent in the woods and don't go back to your house, what would you say? And you would most likely, I would say 99.9999% of you guys would say, no, that's not happening because there's no shower out there. There's no toilet out there. There's no TV out there, no internet, no flick a switch. You have heat, so on and so forth. And that's the same thing for me. When you live in luxury, like living here in the restaurant, like I said, I may not have a kitchen. The bathroom may be messed up, but I have plumbing. I have electricity. I have the wood stove now. So I have creature comforts. I have luxury. So to give all that, to go back to living in the woods with no running water, no type of electricity, no type of entertainment, TV, internet, etc. It's just very, very hard to go back to that. The only reason I did that in Colorado, and that's another thing a lot of you don't think about, is yes, I lived that lifestyle, but I lost everything in 2011. I became homeless. I had no choice. I had nowhere to go. Well, I could have went back to the East Coast with my family like they wanted to, but then I'm under their rules and all that type of stuff. I want to do things my way. So at that point, I couldn't finance anything. I had bad credit. I had no money to my name. My house got foreclosed on that I bought when I was 19. Uh, I sold everything. I mean, I did whatever I could to get that 2.5 acres and then did whatever I could to get the supplies to build that hobo tarp tent. And that's why I lived that way in Colorado, Southside Cotopaxi when I first started. And then slowly built that 2-story house. But it was sacrifice because I had no other choice. So that's totally different than living here at the restaurant where you have water, electricity, and everything and deciding to take a step back in life. When you're already knocked down to the ground and the only way is to go up, then it's a lot easier. But to take a giant step back all the way to the bottom to being homeless once again, basically, it's very, very hard. And I don't want to give that up because it's comfort. I made it back this far to have water, electricity, everything again. So I really don't want to go back to that. But I am trying to think about ways of slowly setting up a rain catchment out there, slowly. I want to say buying solar, but you can't really get a bunch of solar, cheap. Hey, Margaret, how you doing out there? How's Colorado treating you? I hear you got some snow out there. My grandparents up in around Boulder, Longmont area was saying that they've been hammered with snow. And just so you know, it was 62, 63 degrees today. Oh, I thought you were in Colorado. My bad, Margaret. You don't my house. I do understand that. Journey Brook, I don't understand that part. You don't my house. I'm trying to think of what word you wanted to put in there, but I don't understand. Or you forgot to put a word in there. Yeah, I mean it's definitely hard to live the rough life. I mean, I did it in the military, living out in tents, and through survival training school. You're out there eating goldfish and worms, or not goldfish, minnows, minnows, worms, maple leaves, grubs, grasshoppers, all that type of stuff. So I've lived really, really rough. And so, I mean, when I became homeless and lost everything in 2011, I can't say that life was terrible, terrible bad until I got really sick and then my neighbor took me in. Um, because that wasn't even bad. I mean, survival school was bad because I didn't have any money, or you can't just run to the store in survival training when you're dropped in middle of nowhere and have to survive off the land. So at least, me being homeless, I could go down to the gas station, go down to the store, grab something to eat, and I'm not having to start a fire, then cook the grasshoppers and stuff to kill any type of bacteria and things like that. Oh, okay. I'm still confused, Journey Brooke, but I'm there with you. But Margaret, so since you're in Washington, how's the weather in Washington? I thought you were in Colorado, but you're in Washington apparently. I thought you were in Colorado. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of people. They're like, "Do you really want to wait 6.5 years to get out to your homestead?" And I'm like, "No, no, I really don't." And then I was talking to somebody today about the baby goat being stuck out the back of the mama goat, and I lost the baby. And they're like, I know it sucks. They're like, if you were there, you could have prevented that. And I'm like, yes and no, because if I lived at the homestead today, I spent all those hours wet. It's been cold, but in the 40s. Well, you're better than Colorado, so you can be happy about that, because my grandmother said they were down to like 16 degrees. And I've been telling her, I said, we got the 60s coming. Has been 20s. Well, you got to stay warm, stay dry, get a wood fire going, just like over here. Got that wood fire going. These concrete floors make it feel like it's in the 20s. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's another thing. If you don't homestead, for those of you that are thinking about homesteading, for those of you that don't have a bunch of animals yet or doing anything homesteading wise yet, that's one thing you got to consider. People think that if you're living on the homestead with the animals, that wood stove is the way to go. Nothing like wood heat. I'm so glad. And I know a lot of people have been talking about, when are you going to have a wood stove or something again? Finally, got a wood stove again. It's so nice having wood heat. I mean, it just hits your soul. But like I was saying, for any of you that have animals or plan to have animals or want to homestead or thinking about homesteading, just because you live at the homestead, or if I was living at the homestead now and not waiting, yes, it may take 6.5 years, or I might decide to rough in, go over there in 2 years. I don't know. But just because you're at your homestead, just because your animals are at the same area that you're at, doesn't mean you can prevent things. So, for example, if she decided to have the baby at 3 o'clock in the morning and I go to bed at 2 in the morning, and I normally don't wake up till 10 or 11 on bad weather days, but like today I woke up 8 o'clock because it was going to be beautiful weather. I want to get more stuff done. So wake up 8 o'clock, make breakfast, enjoy a little bit TV, got over there about 9:15. But if she decided to have that baby at 3 in the morning, and my house is going to be way up on the mountain, so through the woods, all those trees, you're not going to hear nothing unless something's like being murdered. But if I'm dead asleep inside my house, the same thing would have happened. If she decided to have the baby today at 10 o'clock after I got done feeding at 9, and I went and I'm running a chainsaw for half the day before I came home for lunch, or after lunch, I ran chainsaw for another half day. I wouldn't have heard nothing. The chainsaw's running. So just because you're by your animals doesn't mean you can prevent these things. Same thing with um, eagles, hawks, foxes. I mean, look how many people have chickens in the city and a raccoon gets into their chicken coop, or a weasel or a fox or a neighbor dog or things like that. Those people live even closer to the animals than I'll be living at the homestead. So you have to remember things are going to happen on a homestead. It's the circle of life. I know a lot of homesteading channels, like I say, talk about unicorns and rainbows, and they show you the best things in life. And I don't talk about all the bad things that happen to me or with the animals or things like that. I do share some, but a lot of it I don't need to, because it's repetitive. To, like I said, baby goat got stomped by a camel. Do I make a video on that? And then what was it, like 5 days later, one got ate by a piglet? Then I make a video for that. It's just repetitive. So I can talk about it or not talk about it, but things happen. And there's a lot of people that are part of, the animals need protected and do all that type of stuff, PETA and all that type of stuff out there. And they say you're a villain for letting that happen, or something needs to happen to you because you allow that to happen. I say this: if you think animals need that much protection, of course, everybody see my animals. They see how fat and healthy they are. And like in Colorado, had the cops out there like 42, 38, 42 times, that I was at the ranch where I was going to build my house. Every time they came out, every time animal control came out, every time the city came out, always passed, flying colors. Always had plenty of feed there, plenty of hay, plenty of water, all the animals not injured, so on and so forth. Is this: look at nature. How many animals die in nature? Uh, if a wild goat has a baby in nature and it's got knuckling on its legs, the mom leaves. It's not going to stay with the injured animal. You got coyotes, you got all the predators out there, and they're not inside of a fence. So if you see animals dying on homesteads, or somebody talks about losing an animal on the homestead, unless it's neglect, that the horse has, the muscles sucked in, you can see all the ribs, or the legs just gimping along, just totally broken or something like that, that the person's not taking care of that animal. Or like me, I called the farrier a few weeks ago. I had to wait for the schedule until he could get me in. So that took about 3 weeks. She still has a limp even afterwards, but she's been seen, she's been taken care of. And that's the thing. So if somebody's neglecting and really or abusing, where, like I said, broken legs and stuff like that, just limping along, then that's something you might want to step in on, because then you want to protect that animal. But if it's just stupid stuff, you got to think these things happen in nature, whether you're at the homestead with the animals, not at the homestead, in town getting material, in town getting groceries, at the hospital for an injury. You never know when things are going to happen. The animals don't set a schedule with you where you can save every single one. Goats seem to give birth in change of weather. Yes, and they love the cold. Let's see. Yep, I never got a break in Colorado. Between the cold weather and then all the people out there, that was very difficult. And then today, I had the person that reached out to me that actually purchased the house that I built, and he asked me if I miss my house. And I told him I haven't really talked about this on YouTube too much about Colorado, because I've just got such a bad taste in my mouth from Colorado. Yep, lot of snobs out there. Um, my house that I built, the 2-story house, I really, really do miss that view. For those of you that have been following for a long time, like you, Margaret, you remember I took sliding glass doors. I took the glass out, turned them sideways like that, and I had four panoramic sheets of glass, 6 foot or no, 7 foot sheets of glass across as my windows looking out. And I placed my bed right in front of the one. And when I opened my eyes, I left my curtains open because I went to bed 2, 3 in the morning, like I said. So it was dark, didn't need curtains closed. Nobody could see me. And so I slept with the curtains open. And when I would wake up, I look out and saw the mountains. Even at the ranch, unless I built my house on top of the mountains at the ranch, where I could look past the valley and actually get the view of the mountains, would I have a decent view? But then I would see all the neighbors' houses. That's why my house was going to go down below. And I told him, I said, yeah, I said, I really miss that view. And I really miss that I moved from the south side of Cotopaxi because the people over there were really good people. That's my buddy Steve. I met him on the south side of Cotopaxi, the one that's going to move out here to Arkansas later this year. He's going to be living out here now. Uh, but yeah, I mean, the people were great. But like I told him, I said, things happen for a reason. And even though I really never wanted to leave that place, I had to leave that because that was only 2.5 acres. Got to go. Take care. All right, Margaret, you have a great night. I appreciate you jumping in. Um, but if I didn't move, that 2.5 acres wasn't supporting the few animals that I had at the time, let alone all the animals I have now. So I needed more land to have more animals. And then look, now I got camels, Azores, emus, peacocks, things that I never thought I would ever have. And it just opened the door up. And like I said, I went from 2.5 acres to the 50 acres. And then that's under being sold right now. I'm getting payments for next 6.5 years. Then I get the bulk of the money. And then now I bought 120 acres out here, and I'm going to be selling 30 off to the Homesteading family. And then Steve's going to get like 5 or 6 acres. So I'm going to be down to about like 80 to 85 acres, which is still way more than the 50 acres. And the 50 acres was plenty for me. And when I got 120, I didn't realize how big 120 acres was. So a lot more than I need. So that's why I was willing to start selling a little bit of it. Of course, it's all on payments, so it's going to take like long time for me to get the money off these properties as well. But I'm helping people out, and that's what's important. Um, but yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for the animals not having enough land, I probably would still be at my house on the south side Cotopaxi because I'll never find a view like that. But then I also told him today, I said, it is nice not having the deep winters. Colorado's still having all that cold, all that snow. Um, I'm sitting here in a t-shirt outside working, had my truck windows down, music blaring, had a iHeartRadio on, just cranked out and just enjoying the day. So, I mean, things happen for a reason, they say. And like I said, I've never lived, I mean, this area, St. Joe, Arkansas, is a million times better than Southside Cotopaxi. I love Southside Cotopaxi. I love the people Southside Cotopaxi. But it was more than just that. It's everything here. So, like, I'm not a political person at all. I'll be 36 tomorrow. Never registered to vote. I don't play all the politic games and all that stuff. But like Colorado changed some laws with things that you use to protect yourself, firearms, sidearms, whatever you want to call them, and they passed a red flag law. They can come and take them from you. And then I guess this year they just passed where now you have to pay for the plastic bags at the grocery store. And it just goes on and on and on. And people started, when I moved over to the north side of Cotopaxi, people start calling Colorado because it was all of the California people coming in, changing all the laws and all that type of stuff to how California is. And out here, you don't have all that political BS to deal with, um, like Colorado was turned into. Like I say, I'm not a political person, but it is nice having freedom. And like out here, there's no permits and stuff to build. In Colorado, it was like 25,000. You had to have driveway put in, a culvert had to be inspected by DOT. Then you had to have a soil compaction test. You had to have a soil analysis test, a drainage test. You had to have the septic put in, then a foundation permit, and then the inspections throughout the entire thing. You're paying for all this stuff. And it's ridiculous. I mean, on your own land. I mean, now, we all can go back and forth on that too, because it's not really your land anymore. It don't matter whether you own it outright or not, because allodial titles died back in the 1800s. For those of you that don't know about allodial titles, that was when you bought something, paid it off, you owned it. Now you don't own it; the government owns it. So if you don't pay taxes, they take it back from you. It's that simple. So everybody's a renter, and nobody understands that anymore. There are other countries you can still go and buy land under allodial titles, few and far between nowadays, because they found it's a monopoly, an easy way to make money by making you a tenant instead of an owner. So those are things to consider. Um, but all we can do is live this one life, because we only have this one life. And that's what I'm doing. I'm going to build my homestead. And like I said, I'm trying to gain the mentality to get back to roughing it. Don't know if I'll ever get there, but I'm going to make progress. And I've got a lot of work going on this week. I should have the vet coming out this week to give the dogs their rabies shot. We've been canceling, rescheduling because of all the snow and ice that just hit the last couple weeks. And that's about that. So I hope everybody has a great night. I appreciate everybody that chipped in and came in, everybody new, everybody old. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Have a great upcoming week. And remember, live happy, live free. That's the only way to be. I'll talk to you guys later.